Happy New Year, everybody. I hope 2019 is starting off great for you guys. Today I'm starting my monthly themed movie reviews. If you missed my announcement at the end of my top 10 favorite movies of 2018 video, I said that I wanted to do in between new releases, different themed movie reviews for each month. And this month, January, is going to be Remake month. At the end of the month, I'll announce what next month is going to be. I'll do those videos and so on and so forth, just to keep myself busy with reviews. With that being said, my first video is going to be about two movies that no one really talks about anymore. It's going to be about the 2005 and 2006 remake of the Poseidon Adventure. A little bit of history before I get into the movies. The original Poseidon Adventure came out in 1972, and it was the first really successful disaster movie. The story's pretty basic. It's about a cruise ship gets hit by a tidal wave on New Year's Eve, and the ship capsizes. A group of survivors say to themselves, you know what, instead of waiting for rescue to find us, which probably won't happen, why don't we try to make our ways up towards the ship and get out towards the bottom of the ship, because now the bottom is upside down, the top of the ship is now underneath the water. So we'll make our way up towards the ship, and they got to go through a series of obstacles to try to survive. It's a really great, intense movie, and I love it to this day. It won some Academy Awards, and the movie is actually beloved by a lot of people to this day. It's still ran on TV a bunch of times. So, in 2005, they thought to themselves, why not remake it? Twice. The Hallmark Channel, of all companies, decided to make a made-for-TV remake. And then a year later, in 2006, they did a theatrical release. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today, both remakes. And the reason I'm talking about both of them instead of talking about them separately, I'll get into it more later on, but I really don't have that much to say about the 2006 version. This one's mainly going to be focusing on the 2005 remake, because I have quite a bit I want to say about that one. So without further delay, let's get into the 2005 remake. Now, I mentioned the original version, which is also based on a book as well. The original movie follows the book pretty closely, but one big change that the 2005 remake does, it changes how the ship capsizes. In the original, it was a tidal wave. In the remake, the 2005 remake, a group of terrorists board the ship and plan on killing everyone on board. So what they do is they blow a giant hole in the bottom of the ship, and that causes the ship to capsize rather than sink like they were hoping. I'm not a boat expert, but that doesn't seem like that would actually happen. If any of my viewers actually do know this, let me know in the comment section, because I'm curious, would that actually happen? You think if they blow a hole in the bottom of the ship, the ship would just sink. I don't think it would capsize. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm not a boat expert. But I would say it would probably sink. I don't know. It's a weird change, and I don't know why they went with that change. I kind of get why. You know, they wanted to make the reasoning more modern, because, you know, in modern days, terrorists are now a big thing that we worry about now. That's all we hear on TV all the time on the news is terrorist attacks. So I get what they were trying to do. It was just a weird change. There was nothing wrong with just doing a tidal wave all over again. Give them points for doing something different, but minus a few of those points because it's kind of stupid. A lot of the characters from the original are reincarnated in this version, like Mike Rogo, Mrs. Rosen. Her husband, Mr. Rosen's not in this. They decided to kill him off. That was a good change. But we also get some new characters, and the new characters suck. These characters are absolutely terrible. Even the reincarnated characters aren't even that great. They're terrible character developments. I wouldn't say they're unlikable, but you don't really care about them. There's this family that is going through, the mother and father are going through a possible divorce. They're fighting the whole time. Their son is this movie enthusiast, so he's got this camera throughout the whole movie. Their daughter's the typical, oh, why do I have to be here type girl, and it's just so stupid. I don't like any of these new characters. And they also redid some of the obstacles they have to go through. Like, they have to go through this flash fire room, which was kind of in the original, only the fire was mostly put out. This one, the whole entire room is on fire. And it is a pretty decent obstacle, I have to admit. As much as these obstacles, the new ones as well as the old ones that they reused, they do kind of suck. That one was pretty cool. However, they do another fire-related obstacle towards the end of the movie, and it's terrible CGI. The computer-generated images in this movie are absolutely terrible, and that one at the end was laughably bad. It wasn't even made for TV good. It was made to toilet good. Is that a new saying? Can I make that new? Instead of made for TV, made for toilet? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So the new characters are terrible. The characters reincarnated aren't that good. The obstacles are all right. They're not great, but some of them are all right. The CGI is absolutely terrible, and the runtime is ridiculously long. This movie was cut into 2 parts. I don't know if it was released on TV in 2 parts, but the Blu-ray is released in 2 parts, and each part is an hour and a half long. The whole movie's 3 hours long. Why does it need to be 3 hours? The original was barely 2 hours, and the 2006 remake is like an hour and 30, hour and 40 minutes. That sounds about right for this type of movie. Why the hell do you have to make it 3 hours? Oh, that's right, they gotta throw in a bunch of needless subplots, like a long portion of the movie is dedicated to these terrorists and what they plan to do to the ship. We get it, they're terrorists. We know what terrorists do. They want to get on the ship and kill people. Why is there such a large portion of it committed to them? The whole opening is committed to them, and it's long, it's unneeded, and it just adds to the runtime, which doesn't need to be 3 hours long. And oh my god, I know I talked about the effects earlier, but I gotta mention the green screen. The green screen is horrendous. It's cringeworthy. I can't believe they thought that was good. I know it's made for TV, but you should still make it at least somewhat good. I'm gonna go ahead and say where in the movie it's the most terrible. So it's going to be at the end of the movie, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Don't watch this movie. So what the group of survivors have to do is they have to go to the engine room and find the other bomb and blow a second hole so they can get out, because they can't get out where the first blast was. It's kind of stupid. And once they blow the hole and they're jumping out of the ship, the green screen is atrocious. There's this black line around the people in the Marines that are in the boat trying to save them, and it's laughably terrible. I can't believe that they went for that. And then I'll give the movie this, though. The movie does end the way the book did. The ship, once the survivors get out, the boat actually sinks. That's something that the original movie didn't do. I think it was like they couldn't get it to work right, or that they didn't have time to film it. So the original movie just ended with the helicopter taking the survivors and taking off. So again, small points for doing the ending like the book did. It's just done really terribly. So yeah, the 2005 version, it sucks. It's terrible. It's stupid. And by the way, this is one of the worst, no, this is the worst Blu-ray I own. The picture is grainy as hell. The sound is terrible. You can't even hear the people talking. You just hear the background noise most of the time. It's absolutely terrible. I don't know why I bought this. I guess I just bought it just to complete the collection, but it's terrible. So now let's talk about the 2006 theatrical remake. And like I said, I don't really have too much to say about this one, so this portion is going to be hopefully pretty brief. This one follows the original movie pretty closely. You know, it does involve the tidal wave. The characters are a little bit more likable. It stars Josh Lucas, and I like Josh Lucas. He's a decent actor. I wouldn't say he's amazing. I wouldn't say he's underrated. He's good. Kurt Russell's in this movie. Kurt Russell's great in this movie also. All the characters are great, although I have one small issue with the characters. These characters look like they belong in a soap opera. They look all pretty and clean, and they look like they could be models in a soap opera. In the original movie, we had all sorts of types of different looking characters. Here, everyone just basically looks the same. Again, like they belong in a soap opera. That's really my only complaint with the characters. Although, Josh Lucas is kind of unlikable in the beginning. We meet him, and he's like a cool guy, you know? He seems like an alright guy you'd want to hang out with. But then, once the ship capsizes, he doesn't want to help anyone. He just wants to go on his own. This is the hero of the movie. And when some of the people are trying to say, take us with you, he's like, no, I work better on my own. And it's like, really? Gene Hackman in the original wanted everyone to go with him. He wanted to get everyone out, but everyone's like, no, we're staying here because help's coming, even though they didn't know that they were gonna, spoiler alert, die. But here, Josh Lucas is just like, no, I want to go by myself. I work better on my own. And then finally Kurt Russell's like, hey, guess what? We got an employee with us, so now you got to take us with. And he's like, fine, but you guys got to keep up. He's a little unlikable, although he does redeem himself because he has somewhat of an arc. Somewhat. Not a big arc, but it's something at least. And this movie came out in 2006, and I just recently rewatched it, and the effects hold up really, really well. There is a lot of green screen stuff in this, but it still looks pretty damn good. I was really surprised to see that the effects really held up in this movie. The ship capsizing was fantastic. The music in it was great. Everything was great. All the effects were really top-notch, and they did use a lot of practical stuff. The air vent scene is probably my favorite part in this movie because I'm not claustrophobic, but I can feel it creeping up on me. You can really feel the tension in that scene, and it's really well handled. There is a lot more underwater stuff they have to do than the theatrical version, but you know, that kind of makes sense because they're on a cruise ship, the water is getting in, the boat's sinking. They're basically racing against the water, which is like they did in the original, which was a nice little thing to redo. You know, they're racing against the ship sinking. And also, at the end of this movie, spoiler alert at the end, half of them die, they all get out, yada yada. This movie also does end the way the book did. The ship sinks at the end, and it's much better looking than the 2005 version. So yeah, this movie is a much better improvement over the 2005 one. The characters are somewhat better. They're not better than the original versions, but they're much better than the 2005 one. The effects look a lot better. You know, holding up all these years later, they still look fantastic. The new they don't redo any of the old obstacles, which was so nice to see. They went their own route, and all the new obstacles are really cool and really suspenseful. This movie is the better remake. It really is. I'm going to give the 2005 remake 1 star, and I'm going to give the 2006 remake 3.5 stars. I would recommend checking out all 3 of these movies, the original and the 2 remakes. They are worth watching, but as much as I do like the 2006 remake, I have to admit that these 2 remakes don't compare to the original. The original is obviously the better movie, and I might be talking about the original in a later series. So guys, that's the start of Remake Month. Let me know what you thought about the Poseidon Adventure, if you've seen any of the versions in the comments section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here, and I'll see you guys next time.